We are coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios. This is Prime News on SABC 3. Here's what's dominating in your leads at this hour.
A private process, it's an official process coming from the minister to the national commissioner to me. We are all in it.
The suspended Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection, Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, claims that he is being oppressed before the Madlanga Commission.
This trend may well be attributable to enhanced policing operations like Operation Chanele.
South Africa recorded a decline in violent crimes during the third quarter of the 2025-2026 financial year.
If you are away from 17 to today in a mad rush, as a mine worker I can tell you that I would easily do what I call presumption of death.
And the Mineral Resources Minister says that the 5 mine workers trapped at Ekapa Minerals mine in Kimberley since Tuesday are now presumed dead. A very good evening to you all and welcome to your Friday edition of Prime News on SABC 3. My name is Beki Mutumomolete and I'm here to guide you through the day's top stories. Let's get straight into your leads and here they are. The suspended Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection, Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, claims that he is being oppressed before the Madlanga Commission. This as questions mount over his attempt to rope in the National Commissioner in his alleged unilateral implementation of December 2024 Ministerial Directive disbanding the Political Killings Task Team. This after Sibiya's contention that his actions were sanctioned by the National Commissioner fell under intense scrutiny as it contradicted the objective facts before the probe.
Suspended Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection, Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, was at pains to convince the Madlanga Commission that the actions he took following the PKTT disbandment directive were void of any wrongdoing.
I just feel that I'm being punished for being effective, in a sense that if I try to say let us move and let us make sure that we don't keep things lying around, let this handing over be finalized, it's a problem because now someone was being pressured into bringing the docket, and which is, we were working within the official instruction coming from the minister to the national commissioner to us.
Further probing would reach the conclusion that Sibiya did not have the support of the National Commissioner, General Fani Masemola. Evidence showed that the latter rejected 2 implementation plans by Sibiya, and this was then followed by the much-debated deactivation letter, which ordered that the 121 PKTT dockets be transferred from KZN to headquarters.
I feel oppressed, Chair.
No, feel free to comment.
I feel oppressed in a sense that this is an official process. It's not a private process, it's an official process coming from the minister to the national commissioner to me. We are all in it. Now, when the national commissioner chose to do something with General Khumalo, which he never alerted me to. He never said to me, leave it, I will do it. And then went and did it somewhere with General Khumalo when I don't know. And I kept on communicating and doing things, hoping that I'm doing that what the National Commissioner also expects me to do.
Sibiya further struggled to point to the evidence he relies on to suggest that the PKTT's dockets were dormant.
Now you are saying, but I know for a fact that they had started long ago. And yet you had said the answer for them starting long ago is in this document. And thus far, this document has not assisted you. So where else or from what other document or from what other evidence evidence do you base the long ago?
The hearings continue on Monday. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Pretoria.
South Africa recorded a decline in violent crimes during the third quarter of the 2025-2026 financial year, according to figures released in Pretoria by Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia. During this quarter, from 1st October to 31st December 2025, violent crimes decreased by 6.7%, reflecting 12,682 fewer cases reported to the South African Police Service as compared to the same period in the previous year.
Total contact crime, made up of all categories of violent crime, started to decrease in the third quarter of 2024-5. During this quarter, total violent crime decreased again by 6.7%, or 12,682 fewer cases reported to the South African Police Service when compared with the same quarter last year. Over the last 2 years, total violent crime for this quarter is down by 8.3%, or 15,763 fewer cases. This trend may well be attributable to enhanced policing operations like Operation Chanele. But despite these welcome national trends, the levels of crime, as I've already indicated, remain unacceptably high.
In related news, the acting police minister says that organized crime involving tendering, copper cable theft and water syndicates contributes to rampant water and electricity outages in the country. He says that organized crime demands a shift in response to dealing with an evolving threat to national security.
Nevertheless, the impacts of these crimes is real and severely damaging for our country. When public funds are stolen on a large scale, we feel it in the most direct ways. Local level organized corruption in tendering, copper cable theft syndicates, possibly even in the water sector, contribute to outages of water and electricity that causes distress in families and communities across our country.
Mineral and Petroleum Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe says that the 5 mine workers trapped at Ekapa Minerals mine in Kimberley since Tuesday are now presumed dead. Mantashe made the remarks following an oversight visit to the mine on Friday morning. Despite this, Ekapa Minerals says it has not altered the scope of the operations from a rescue to a retrieval mission.
After more than 3 days, the words that the families have been dreading finally said aloud.
We hope that we can find those bodies rather than keeping a hope that they are alive. If you are away from 17th to today in a mad rush, as a mine worker I can tell you that I would easily do what I call presumption of death and assume that they are dead. But more important today will be briefing the families in detail so that they don't hold on a false hope.
Efforts to reach the men continue. It's been an emotional roller coaster for the families of the trapped men. Priscilla Damon, a spouse of one of the trapped miners, was attending a candlelight prayer organized by Kimberley residents.
I am devastated and heartbroken. The waiting is driving me crazy. I feel like getting a panic attack because all you hear is they are still pumping water underground. I always hope to hear they are finally going to look for them, but then we have to understand the safety of the rescue team is also important. It's been 3 days and the hope you have declines each time, and then you hope for the best again.
Investigations into the incident will start as soon as the men have been removed from the shaft. Ekapa Minerals says mine rescue teams are continually pumping water and mud from the shaft. Mantashe says after what he saw underground, the sheer amount of water and mud that still needs to be pumped out, he's certain that getting to the trapped men will still take a number of days. Ulrich Hendricks, SABC News, Kimberley, Northern Cape.
We move on to this now. Police are still searching for a weapon believed to have been used during a shooting incident at the family home of former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe in Hyde Park, Sandton yesterday. A gardener employed at the Mugabe home was shot and wounded. Mugabe's son, Bellarmine, and a friend have since been arrested in connection with the incident. According to eyewitnesses, an altercation ensued between Bellarmine Mugabe and the gardener. The reason for the altercation is yet to be established. The victim sustained gunshot wounds and is in critical condition in hospital. Mugabe and another suspect were arrested yesterday and have been detained at the Bramley police station. They are expected to appear at the Alexandra Magistrates Court on Monday, facing an attempted murder charge. We invite you to stay tuned because after the break, we focus on President Ramaphosa, who has warned that climate change has the potential to hamper growth and development. We will be back with you shortly. Welcome back from the break. President Cyril Ramaphosa has warned that climate change has the potential to hamper growth and development. This follows the recent devastating floods which ravaged the Limpopo and Mpumalanga provinces, closing schools, destroying infrastructure and claiming many lives.
South Africa is already experiencing the effects of climate change without any doubt. If anybody ever doubted that there is climate change, one needs to travel to the Eastern Cape, KZN, now of late Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and Northwest, and indeed the Western Cape. And the Free State, all our provinces are now affected by climate change. And these are predicted to increase rapidly as we approach the end of this decade and beyond. This could significantly impede our growth and our collective prosperity. It is likely to undermine our efforts to address inequality, poverty, as well as unemployment, the triple challenge that our country continues to face. Addressing climate change must therefore go hand in hand with improving living conditions for all our people.
Deputy President Paul Mashatile says that he is happy with the progress made at Carlswood Reservoir in Midrand, north of Johannesburg. Mashatile visited the reservoir to conduct an oversight in his capacity as the chairperson of the Water Task Team.
Out of troubled waters for now, out of the woods. Still a long journey to go for work that we need to do, but at least the system is pumping water to residents. There may be areas there and there where there might still be challenges, but we're getting there. The briefing I received from the Premier and the Executive Mayor is quite pleasing, that we are making progress and we will continue to monitor.
In related news, Minister of Water and Sanitation, Phemi Majodina, has called for decisive action against local authorities accused of embezzling funds allocated for critical infrastructure projects. Majodina was speaking during an oversight visit to the Mshwati bulk water supply scheme in Dwedwe, north of Durban.
The promise of running water is edging closer to reality for thousands of residents in parts of the Ilembe district north of Durban.
We used to have water many years ago, but as you can see, the taps have dried. I will be happy if this project will provide us with water again. As it is, we have to go down to that stream to fetch water. We haven't had water tankers for over 2 weeks now. We are pleased by the project, but the set completion time is too far away. We don't have water. At this old age, I can't be going to water streams just to fetch water. I might even be bitten by snakes.
But while progress is visible, traditional leaders say construction delays have slowed the project's rollout.
We are happy about the project, but many of our communities have not received this water. It's only communities that are not close to this water scheme that has received water, and that worries us a lot.
The minister reiterated that any misuse of funds earmarked for water projects will not be tolerated.
All municipalities, on a weekly basis, they must showcase how are they attending to their major leaks, because without them closing those major leaks, increasing the capacity of obstruction might not assist us. All municipalities must showcase how are they upgrading their reservoirs.
I'm Madlanga Commission for SABC News and Ndwedwe.
Come back, the U.S. Supreme Court has struck down President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs that he pursued under a law meant for use in national emergencies. Do stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. In a major setback for the White House's economic and foreign policy agenda, the United States Supreme Court has struck down the U.S. President Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs imposed on nations around the world last year. The court affirmed two lower court rulings that determined last year that the president had overstepped his legal authority by invoking the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977 to impose tariffs. The nation's highest court, in a split 6-3 decision, struck down the so-called reciprocal tariffs imposed last year, including the 30% imposed on South African exports to the United States. Barring some exceptions, the court found that the act did not authorize the president to impose taxes or tariffs under a declared emergency, which it said remained the purview of the U.S. Congress. The court said that if it were the Congress' intention to convey the power to impose tariffs to the president, it would have done so expressly, a key omission that the IEEPA did not convey to the executive. Employment and Labour Minister Nkosazana Meth has formally activated over 1.5 billion rand in labour activation program contracts to companies in Gauteng. This is a government initiative designed to provide skills development, work experience and employment opportunities to unemployed citizens while supporting economic growth. The minister held the activation in Attridgeville, where she said more than 30,000 high-impact training and work opportunities will be unlocked.
Initiative is to reduce unemployment, enhance employability and support job creation through structured learnerships, skills training and partnerships with private and public sector organizations. Employment and Labour Minister Nkosazana Meth says the opportunities target over 30,000 beneficiaries and span a range of industries including agriculture, construction, cleaning and security services, call center operations and others.
We've got a database we call Employment Services South Africa, where all job seekers register. It's got 6.9 participants or members who are in that database. And now we are at 80,000. We are giving this 30,000. That puts us beyond 100,000 of those who are participating, and majority of whom is young people.
Meanwhile, some of those attending complained about being denied access to the venue, while others said unemployed older people are being sidelined from job opportunities.
My frustration is we are not allowed to enter inside the hall, and we have heard that this event, it was for the minister to ignite jobs and partnering with entities.
It's good that the youth must work, but what about us, the over 50-year-olds, we who take care of households? Government doesn't help us with anything.
The minister responded to the last claim, saying the program is open to everyone to apply. Diabosito, SABC News, Johannesburg.
It is now time for us to take a look at what the big blue of our southern skies has in store for us. Your weekend weather forecast is up next.
Good evening and a warm welcome to the weather desk. Take a look at our weather for tonight into tomorrow. Expecting isolated to a sketchy chance of showers and thunder showers for the central parts into the eastern areas, mainly a 60% over KwaZulu-Natal, all the way to the eastern half of the Eastern Cape. For tomorrow, If you are waking up over KwaZulu-Natal, can expect some morning fog patches, which may result in some reduced visibility. A 60% chance of showers and thundershowers will stretch to the eastern parts of the Free State province, covering the southern areas of Gauteng, as well as most parts of the Eastern Cape later into the afternoon. We're expecting a 30% chance mainly over the eastern parts of the Northern Cape that will stretch into the northern parts of the northwest. The South African Weather Service has issued a yellow level 2 warning of severe thunderstorms expected to result in heavy downpours that may result in localized flooding, a possibility of damaging winds, as well as a possibility of hail and excessive lightning. This is expected over KwaZulu-Natal for this evening into the southern parts of Mpumalanga, but tomorrow it will stretch into the eastern parts of the Free State, as well as covering the southern parts of the northwest, into the eastern half of the Eastern Cape, as well as into the central and the eastern parts of KwaZulu-Natal. So do take caution around those areas. It will be quite chilly for the southwestern parts. Sutherland will reach a minimum of 13 degrees, 17 in Calvinia. Warmer in the northeastern parts. Musina with a minimum of 23, 21 in Palabura. If you'll be in Bombela, expect a minimum of 19 degrees. Warm conditions expected for tomorrow, especially over the northern parts, with Musina peaking at a maximum of 33 degrees. Hot in Palabura with a maximum of 32. To the southwestern parts as well as the central interior, it will be hot. They are with 32. However, over most parts of the Western Cape, expect some hot conditions. Worcester will peak at a maximum of 35 degrees. And that's it from our weather. Do stay tuned.
As the curtain closes on tonight's news, we would like to thank you for your audience, wishing you a phenomenal weekend ahead with plenty of rest on the agenda. Until next time, for myself, Becky, and the team, stay ahead of the curve. Good night.